What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Alright, so it looks like Gennady Triple G Golovkin, his ratings came back for his fight last weekend with Marco Antonio Rubio, and the numbers were great. He did and pulled in 1.3 million viewers on HBO. So props for that. That makes him the second highest non-pay-per-view cable fight, and that's shortly or slightly behind Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and his controversial rematch with Brian Vera, which did 1.3 million viewers. So props to Triple G. I think Triple G just continues to make statements. I said this before on my channel. I like Triple G how active he is. A lot of people are saying, oh, he's fighting bums or whatever, but at least he's actively disposing of quote unquote bums, and he's staying active. You're getting to see him 3-4 times a year or whatever the situation is, and that's with his father dying, and we're still getting to see him quite a bit. 1.3 million views is very solid for a cable fight, a free cable fight. Great number. If you guys remember, Adrian Broner was doing similar numbers when he was on HBO. He had a fight, I think his fight with Gavin Reese did 1.4 million, and Broner was considered to be a star. He had a lot of promotion and hype behind him. He had his over-the-top antics. Hey, AB, hey pops, brush my hair, like all that extra stuff. So he really made a lot of noise for himself, just doing different stuff like that, videos and things like that. And he was doing around that number. He did 1.4 million, if I'm not mistaken, versus Gavin Reese. And he was also the person that a lot of people were anointing and considering to be the heir to Floyd Mayweather's throne. So there's a lot of comparisons to Floyd, which I'm sure jogged up his number and stuff like that. So this is a really good number for Triple G to have similar numbers to somebody who was getting that much exposure. My request for Triple G is just keep fighting, keep being active, and definitely step up in competition. Not that he's not trying to, because he said he wants to fight Miguel Cotto. Some people say he's too small, but Cotto has to make a decision, relinquish the belts then, you know what I mean? And let Triple G fight and whoever else fight for the vacant belts. Peter Quillen no longer has a belt because for whatever fucking reason, Al Heyman told him to get rid of the belt. So maybe they could fight for a vacant title. I just want to see, and I have to see Triple G in with the top 5 guys. That's what I really want to see. I have this ongoing argument with my brother, who he's not really impressed with Triple G. He's nah, he ain't beating him. He ain't beating bumps. I personally see the talent. I look at his amateur pedigree. He's never been knocked out or knocked down. It says something about his demeanor, and it just I like what I see. I like when I see a fighter and I see growth from fight to fight. I seen it with Terrence Crawford. I told you before Terrence Crawford fought Bradis Prescott. I told you on my channel, I was like, "Yo, watch out for this kid." Then he had the Bradis Prescott performance, and I'm like, "Damn, he looked good. He looked sharp." And I since then have seen growth with him. You know what I mean? In the pro rankings. He had a fight with what's his name, Sanabria or whatever the dude's name was. He fought Ricky Burns. He fought Gamboa, and he showed me different things. Another person that comes to mind is Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, when I first started seeing him on TV, his first televised fights and stuff like that, I was like, yo, this kid is kind of wild. He has power, but he's like super wild. He needs to like buckle down a notch. But since then, I've seen Keith Thurman make some of those pro adjustments, not be as wild and reckless. I mean, he at times he still is gunning for the KO, so he gets a little bit wild. But when I first started seeing him on TV, he was a lot, I don't know, a lot less controlled, I guess you could say. And I've seen those adjustments, so I really like to see that, and I want to see Triple G do that. I want to see him just how good he is, and the way to see that is him stepping up and fighting somebody. Now the problem is a lot of people say, "Oh, he's only fighting bums." Who's lining up to fight him? Like that's what I really need to know. Now, granted, I understand. Not all, like you know what I mean. No one wanted to see him fight Adama or Ishida, people like that. So I get that. But if he's fighting multiple times a year, I don't really hear many guys requesting that fight. Like, yo, send the contract, punk. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see many people doing that. Miguel Cotto's been quiet as a church mouse when Triple G has called him out after 2 fights. After the Daniel Gill fight, he called out Miguel Cotto, and now after the Rubio fight, he called out Miguel Cotto. I ain't heard nothing from Cotto. I understand he's a family man and that kind of thing, but I haven't heard from him. So that's what I hope for Triple G. I just want to see him fight better competition, so the world can really gauge how good he is, or if he was overrated or overhyped or whatever. I have my personal beliefs, but again, I got to see him in there with someone that could take a punch, a top 5 guy, a guy that can crack, things like that. Peter Quillen would be a good fight that comes to mind. I personally don't see many people, if anyone, I really don't see anyone dealing with him at middleweight. So I think he will have to move up in weight, fight the Carl Froches of the world, the Andre Wards, the Andre Durrells, to get a challenge. And he beat Andre Durrell in the amateurs. So that would be a really good fight that I would like to see. See if Durrell can avenge that amateur loss. Just anything like that, I'm down for. But as far as this video, great job, Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. You did a great number, 1.3 million, and I'm sure having a loaded undercard with Nonito Donaire and Nicholas Walters definitely stole the show, and I'm sure helped jog up that number and build some excitement to this card. So props to that, K2 and Top Rank, for getting this fight done. Let me know what you guys think of Triple G's number, 1.3 million. Is he overrated? Is he just fighting bums like my brother says? And let's be clear, man. I'm not saying he's fighting the best available opposition. I'm not saying that. I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's like Rubio was the end all be all. Like, truth be told, Rubio, every time he stepped up to the big name, he pretty much lost. He lost to Chavez Jr., lost to Kelly Pavlik. I wouldn't consider David Lemieux a big name. So I understand that. So I understand where these guys are at, like Adama, Ishida. Like Ishida was living off the James Kirkland glory, you know what I'm saying, and moving up in weight. Gabe Rosado is kind of a person who's tough, but he's more or less the same boat. Every time he stepped up, he's lost, be it controversial or not. He fought J. Leon Love, lost. It was controversial. I thought he should have won, but he lost. Peter Quillen, he lost. He got knocked down. He was getting some steam in the second half, and then he got a nasty cut, which was open by punch. Lost that fight. So I get it. I see where these guys are at, and I truly want to see Triple G step up in competition. But I like what I see so far, and I see the growth. And again, like I said earlier in this video, don't really see anybody who is lining up to fight this man. Like, who's really just requesting that? Who says, I want that action? Triple G, send the contract, you know what I'm saying? Who's doing that? Like, you got guys like Martin Murray. I ain't heard shit from Felix Sturm. I ain't heard shit from Miguel Cotto. You know what I mean? So I haven't really heard people. The only person, and I give props to, is Edislandi Lara, but he's not even in the same weight division. So that's the only person that I remember off the top of my head calling him out. So shit, make that fight, make something. And as far as some of the people who are saying like, oh, he has to move up, I think that's kind of foul. I don't think that's fair to say, like, just because you feel there are names in his division at 160, whether you think it's not as stacked. I'm not saying it's as stacked as 140 or 147, but there are some names that he could fight that will up his ranking as far as a fighter. And you shouldn't have to, like, it's a must. You can't clean out your division. Like, what kind of shit is that? Like, you have to move up in weight. Like, let the man try to clean out his division. You know what I mean? That's like one of the forgotten things in boxing. Not everyone's willing to climb. You know what I mean? Like, they'll have a couple fights at like 140 and then they'll move up to 147. Like, shit, let the man clean out his division. There are good, solid names that could test him. It's just he hasn't fought those people yet. But you can't fault somebody for trying to become like the undisputed champion, you know what I mean, lineal champion and all kinds of shit at their weight division. Like, no, you're too. That's basically saying you're too good. Move up because I don't see no one fucking with you at middleweight. You know what I mean? and you can't do that. There are some names at middleweight that could give him trouble, could give him problems, especially at this level when we haven't seen everything from him. So if he's going to stay at middleweight, if David Lemieux beats Gabe Rosado, maybe a fight like that. A fight with Martin Murray, I would love to see. A fight with Peter Quillen, of course. A fight with Miguel Cotto. Those are the names that are going to probably, in my book, take him to a next level, like where people get to really see if he has a solid victory. You know what I'm saying? Like if he disposes of a Cotto or something like that, like he's been doing with these other cats, then, you know what I mean, a new star is born. That's instant gratification. Anyway, let me know what you think of this video. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video is Ego, signing off.